Yo bro, how much for the cut?
Studio
Studio Bind, the studio that debuted with arguably the best looking isekai to ever come out, but the quality steadily went downhill. I probably need to preface first, am I doing this video for the title? Yeah. Secondly, is this studio actually going downhill? No and yes. They are a new studio. They've only worked on 2 projects. Of course, one of them has multiple seasons. And yes, season 2 part 2 looks better so far. So there's no telling what's for this studio in the future. But there is quote unquote signs of this studio going somewhere that is not what it was intentionally going for. Studio Bind was founded in 2018 by Egg Firm and Studio Y Fox. It was a joint effort to make this studio. Egg Firm CEO Nobuhiro Osawa independently offered Toshiya Otomo, the president of Studio Bind now, to adapt Mushoku Tensei. From previous experience that Otomo had producing shows back in Studio 8-bit, Yamano Susume, although different types of genre, but still has a lot of similarities with a more character focused and driven show. Well, I don't know if Yamano Susume is a character driven show, but from the looks of it, it is. And there was a lot of character acting animators in Yamano Susume, but Otomo couldn't produce Mushoku Tensei alone. So the Fire Nation attacked. He would get backed up from Osawa from Egg Firm and the founder and representative director of Y Fox, Gakko Iwasa. After the confident boost that Otomo had, he picked up Mushoku Tensei and became the debut project for Studio Bind. Trying to pick a director for this project, they went for Manabu Okamoto and assistant director Hiroki Hirano. Both had ties with Y Fox, worked on previous shows like Akamega Kill and ReZero Season 1. A lot of companies were trying to get Mushoku Tensei off the ground, but it was never made into a screen adaptation because of various reasons, as by the season 1 director said. It probably was a pretty challenging task to adapt the source material, not just because it was a light novel, but also the story itself. Mushoku Tensei is not your bog standard isekai, it has a lot of layers to it, and the pre-production phase probably took a lot of time. It's just packed with so much stuff, and they also made a new language from scratch. I don't know if this is also from the light novel, I'm guessing not, but the main team was stacked and packed with talented animators. Season 1 looked amazing. At least part 1. It was a Sakuga Fest show through and through. The direction, storyboards, art direction, compositing, everything was perfect. And the series director also had a unique idea to use a film grain because he liked the retro fashion look. So he went to try it out and I think it worked on his favor. Of course, the source material was also great. With all of the connections that the main staff had, a lot of animators flocked to this project. It could be veterans or young freelancing animators. The display of magic and the world surrounding them was something else. From this dark depressing world to a colorful magical world. Their parents have sex 24/7 and also this. Oh yeah, and cheating. Because Paul's my that was a joke. Even before season 1 dropped, the staff provided us with a jaw-dropping pre-animated trailer just so that the fans are more hyped for the adaptation. Ryo Imamura, Shingo Fuji, and some of the animators involved really created a masterpiece of a trailer. I mean, it worked, right? Look at Gigak's reaction.
Damn, this has budget. Look at this budget.
Oh. While most people would not see the downgrade for part 2 of season 1, just a note, it's a bit of a downgrade. I still think it's like an A tier visual wise. It's not comparable to season 2's downgrade. Part 2 of season 1 was not as consistent as part 1, and the more glaring issue is that the schedule is showing cracks, more so a delay for part 2. But a more glaring issue is that the team was split very heavily so that they could work on another project, being Onimai. Onimai was another very ambitious project for the studio. Very beautiful show. Everyone worked on this show. And it stole some of the more important stuff from Mushoku Tensei. Shingo Fuji was the one who directed and storyboarded the PV and episode 11 of part 1, which arguably is the best action episode of the series. He also action supervised some episodes in part 1, but he was the director for Onimai. Ryo Imamura had some very standout sequences and made the overall drawing quality for some episodes really good, especially for the PV. He corrected a lot of drawings there. He was now the character designer for Onimai, and of course a lot of other staff. Onimai's quality never dropped. It was again a Sakuga Fest show through and through, sometimes even having standout episodes just because the plethora of directors and animators on the project. Again, part 2 was still really good visually. The director was still the same and there were a lot of top tier animators like Toshiyuki Sato, Honehone, Hiroyuki Takashima, and a lot more. I'll talk about Kyukawa later. I mean, you had animators fighting because they wanted to animate this scene. Also, the regulars from part 1 came back to the best episode of the series because of Hiroyuki Takashima helming the episode just for one episode. But the worst hasn't happened yet. We got a pre-anime trailer for season 2. Okay, looks great. Kyukawa's gonna pop off this season. Ooh, another trailer drop. Okay, it looked a bit concerning. Oh wait, the director changed for season 2? Hiroki Hirano? Well, he was the assistant director for season 1, so it's probably gonna be fun. Well, I was wrong. Before talking about some changes about the staff, was this the director's fault? Probably not. Again, he was quite involved in season 1. It was probably the schedule. The schedule, as I've said before, was starting to show cracks, and season 2 particularly didn't have a good schedule probably, just from the visuals of part 1 of season 2. The first part of season 1 probably had a good schedule, but over time it got worse. I still like season 2 and beyond, but it's quite obvious the downgrade in visuals. I also saw some people talking about season 2's adaptation was not on par with season 1. I don't know if this is true. You light novel readers can confirm it in the comments. From an anime standpoint, the first half pacing of part 1 was a bit all over the place. With the unreasonable schedule that they probably had for season 2, some of the staff left the project. But the most important part was the season 1 director leaving, and some of the other staff followed him to the new project. Yes, maintaining a very stacked staff list for multiple seasons is hard. There's a lot of examples from other shows, but where did he go? Idol. No, not that one. Idolmaster U149 was an idol show that visually looks appealing and had some very talented staff working on this. The important staff is that season 1 director of Mushoku Tensei, Manabu Okamoto, was not the director for U149. And Hiroki Takashima, someone who directed 2 of the most impressive looking episodes, being episode 5, which he solo key animated as well, and part 2 episode 10, of course, the best episode of the series. But now, he's the assistant director for U149, and some other staffs also. Like, they got Atsushi Kobayashi, someone who is very involved in Vinland Saga, to direct an episode in U149 because he did some storyboarding work in season 1, and the episode that he did in U149 was a masterpiece, hands down the best episode from that show. Okamoto probably wanted to direct U149 more than Mushoku Tensei, and again, the schedule wasn't friendly, but for this show, they probably had a good schedule. Seigen Pictures is a studio that hasn't worked on much shows, but their quality is always top tier because the people behind the studio bring in some very talented names to the project and also forming a really good connection to other well-known animators. It's a studio that prioritizes quality over quantity. Also, the shows that they produce are mainly for the Japanese audience, like Gundam, Uma Musume, Idolmaster, and a lot more. And for the future project also, they're gonna do an Uma Musume movie, which looks absolutely stunning. Can't wait for that. Season 2 looked underwhelming because most of the staff from season 1 is not here anymore. It had a lot of inconsistencies like drawing, weird movements, and sometimes the background doesn't mesh that well with the characters. It also doesn't help that Toto, the character designer for Mushoku Tensei, is now only credited as design assistant because he is working on Chainsaw Man, and he's prioritizing that show more because he absolutely loves Chainsaw Man. I mean, look at that profile picture. So uwu kawaii desu. What the fuck did I just say? I feel like the art director and composing artist is still the same for season 2. Still had beautiful backgrounds. And another problem is that most of the animators that was involved for previous seasons didn't even do a thing for this season. In an era where producers and studios are dishing out high quality and ambitious productions, the talent are spread thin. That's why now there's a lot of freelancers or producers contacting animators on Twitter because they want a piece of that sakuga. Sometimes you could do great, but slowly relying on animators that don't have much experience to basically carry an episode, it's not the ideal thing. There's also rumors for the first couple of episodes of season 2 part 1 were like a late decision to adapt the content, but take that as a grain of salt. The Magic School arc, yes, looked a bit better compared to the first couple episodes, and one animator basically carried the action part and sometimes some other stuff. Kyukawa. Kyukawa is a young upcoming animator, one of the best action animator to come out in recent times. His tight choreographed fights are always a treat to see. He did some of the best action sequences in season 1, and he was the sole purpose on why the sakuga aspects of it for season 2 was still good. Of course there's other animators that was in this season, but if it's not for Kyukawa, it would have looked way worse. The argument from my previous Mushoku Tensei video was that, oh, it's more of a slice of life calm season. They don't need to put a lot of resources on that because there's barely any fights, which is a pretty dumb statement. The studio's previous works, like Onimai, was just a slice of life show, but it looked amazing. Same with Mushoku Tensei season 1, when there's no action, it still looked consistent and great. And there's also some examples from this season of anime, like Hibiki Euphonium season 3 and Jellyfish. If you have a talented and ambitious director that understand anime, how to use the visuals, compositing, music, voice acting, framing work to actually tell a more cohesive story, rather than just putting music randomly, you get a project that's just more than a show. It's captivating, interesting, and also connection. Having connected with a lot of talented directors and animators is also important, while having the main core staff too being really good is a plus too. The whole scope is that this studio was made for the sole purpose of adapting Mushoku Tensei. I'm not saying that they're only gonna work on Mushoku Tensei. They are an animation studio, so if they're smart, they're gonna pick up more projects. But the fact that they can't keep the more important staff to the show is pretty bad, because probably the schedule is not the greatest. So the director got offered to do another show that might had a better schedule and pique their interest more. Same goes for Onimai, the fact that they had to split the team so that they could work on 2 shows at the same time. And looking at the broad scale thing, Onimai was prioritized more. And now we're here. Season 2 Core 2 had another director change. Ryusuke Shibuya, the director who did the better episode, arguably the best episode in Core 1 visually, and looks good, better than Core 1 so far. It's consistent, the character designs looks better, barely any off-model drawings. I know they're not gonna have the same quality as Season 1, but all I need is consistency. I could nitpick some stuff, but it doesn't really matter for now. Currently from recording this video, 3 episodes are out, and overall, it's good. I actually haven't watched episode 3. It came out last night. Let me just... Wow, that was great. And very unexpected. I don't know what's gonna happen this season. I know from the OP they're gonna save Zenith from the labyrinth thing. I don't know if this core is gonna be action heavy. I don't know if there is gonna be a turning point, maybe. Although people are saying that content wise it's gonna be better. There was rumors that they are gonna adapt the whole light novel. Take this very lightly for now. Q-Call is probably still gonna carry the action and other animators that were brought to the show. Although I'm a bit worried with Q-Kawa because of his recent tweets about him being demotivated. Hopefully he gets through that. By the way, the tweets are not because of studio bind from the looks of it, just to clarify. But yeah, I probably missed some stuff. I didn't want this video to be that long, although to be honest this could be my longest video. Anyways, if you guys like this video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a like. Comment down below what are your thoughts in previous seasons or the season that is airing right now. And yeah, hope you guys video. See you guys next time.